Hello and welcome to a new episode of Ausfahrt.tv in English. I'm your host Mr. Z with a strong German accent. This is a Volkswagen Golf Sportsvan. Well, it is a minivan, and you might know there was another minivan called the Volkswagen Golf Plus. Actually, it's the same concept, they just changed the name from Golf Plus, which is in Germany related to the older generations, to the Sportsvan, which sound much more attractive for young people like us. So, the Golf Plus was presented in 2004 and was based on the Golf 5. They had a facelift in 2009 where they got closer to the design of the Golf 6, and here we got the Sportsvan, which is based on the Golf 7. We had this car for 2 weeks now. We drove around 2,000 kilometers, around about 1,250 miles, and therefore I can really tell you a lot about the behavior of the car. I can tell you as well that I don't like the design too much, especially the front. If you drive in front of the car and you see the Golf Sportsvan in the mirror, it looks like a Golf where an elephant just put on his foot on for a certain time. So the whole front is so pushed down in some way that I don't really appreciate. What I do like so is the LED daylight, which is really looking good if you ask me, and it gives the car a rather sporty look besides the hood in the front. You can order the Sportsvan with various gasoline and diesel engines. Our test car is equipped with a 2-liter TDI diesel engine that is good for 150 horsepower and a maximum torque of 340 Newton meters. Well, it is called Sportsvan, but even with this 150 diesel horsepower, it takes 9.2 seconds to accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour / 62 miles per hour, and the top speed is limited to 212 kilometers per hour. So sportiness is rather a marketing thing for telling you in this van you can put all your sport equipment. Don't get me wrong about my sarcasm. I don't think it's a bad car, not at all, I would tell you in a bit. I just think that the name is kinda, you know, hard to explain. From the shape of the car you can tell it is a compact van or a minivan. So it's just like the Golf, it's a little bit higher, the roofline is a little bit higher, which means that you have a little bit more space in the inside. By the way, our car is equipped with 17-inch alloy wheels, and overall I think the appearance is not too bad. Do you know the fact that when you think about a certain car, you kind of try to memorize when you saw it last time on the street and you just don't remember, and if you really get involved into the topic, you see this car over and over everywhere on the streets. Well, in the past 2 weeks I saw a whole bunch of Golf Pluses on the road, and boy do I not like the rear lights of them. You know, they have this fried egg kind of looking like rear lights. So this is really improvement. Look at the nice LED backlights with this, you know, kind of sporty shape even, yeah. Well, the back itself is not too sporty, I think, even it says Sportsvan. Something I like about all the Volkswagen, the recent ones, is the handle that is embedded in the Volkswagen badge. When we in Germany talk about senior citizens, we say 50 plus. That is the reason why it's not the Golf Plus anymore, but the Golf Sportsvan. However, Volkswagen is still aiming on the generations 50 plus with this car. And it is a good car for senior citizens, but as well for me with my, well, screwed up knees. It is very easy to get inside the car. It's a very nice and easy entry because you sit a little bit higher and it gives you a good feeling while you drive too. The same is with the rear. The doors, as you can tell, are not as big as the front doors. Still you have enough space to easily sit inside here. So even for older people or like me, young people with sport injuries, it is a good ride. And I would like to invite you to follow me inside so I can show you around just a little bit. Well, I beg your pardon for making fun of the Volkswagen marketing department. I don't mean it like that, because, you know, if you look maybe to BMW, the 2 Series Active Tourer, a compact minivan, you know, Active Tourer. So you get the idea, Active Tourer sports van, they're aiming for families, maybe young families, they're aiming for active people who like to go mountain biking, put their bike in the back, to go paragliding, put their parachute in the back, and so on. And if you're not taller than 5'11", you can actually sleep in the back if you flip the back row. Anyhow, I wanted to show you around, and as much as I don't like the outside, I learned to really like the inside, the interior, as well as the driving abilities of the Golf Sportswagen. So a quick look around. If you look around, it's all nice and quality material. We have such soft touch material right here. We have this glossy black applications here and there. We have white leather because it's a press test car, so they like to put white leather here so you can see everything. And we have a little chrome or brushed alloy every now and here. The steering wheel is a little bit big, but it gives you a good grip. It's coated with leather, and it's really good in your hand. You see a lot in the Golf Sportsvan. The mirrors are okay, the side mirrors, so is the rear mirror. You see a lot, and even if you turn your head, there's no blind spot in the car. And if you go parking and you have like a really narrow parking space, you can take the advantage of the rear camera, which is hiding below the Volkswagen badge that you use to open the trunk as well. That's pretty neat, I guess. We have analog gauges, a speedometer up to 260 kilometers per hour, which is, you know, a little bit of bragging since the car's just running 212. We have an RPM scale here up to 6,000 RPM, and in between a little multi-functional display or whatever they call it, where you can see your current speed or the instructions from the GPS system or your average mileage and so on. You can flip through this with the buttons on the steering wheel that are very handy to use, by the way. I was driving one day about 4 hours, and I really, for at least 2 hours, there was like a long country road, and I hardly used the shift stick or the gas pedal. I was just driving with the cruise control, going, you know, fast and slower with a little pedal here. So you have plenty, and I say plenty of room inside here. In the door panels you have really big compartments. A liter bottle fits easily in here. You have 2 cup holders right here. If you don't use them, you can slide this. And the neat thing is, if you have a bigger bottle, you just stick it in here, and if you have smaller bottle, there comes this little thing that holds the bottle, so even smaller bottle don't shake around too much. Very important for cool guys like me. I need an armrest, you know, like hanging in the car driving, you have to put your arms somewhere, so you have this neat armrest. Under the armrest is another compartment, and a neat thing is that you can, if you lift this up slowly, you can even, you know, rearrange it in a way you need. There's a little compartment right next to the steering wheel on the left. We have this compartment here right on the dashboard where you can store stuff. There's a compartment right here, or if you open it, below this you have the USB plug, a 12 volt outlet and an aux in, and still some stuff where you can, a lighter, store stuff. And you have this surface in there so the stuff is not shaking around while you drive. Pretty neat. The seats are just gorgeous. I'm sorry, I've never dared to expect such comfortable seats in a compact mini-sized van, whatever, sports van. They have just the right side support. It's not too much, but it's enough. Even, I mean, it's not a sports car, you know. Even if it's a sports van, it's not sports car, so you don't drive really sporty. But even if you try to drive sporty, the side support in the seat is really good. And I've been in this car for hours, really for hours, and the seats are really great for long rides. They're never uncomfortable, it's really pleasant on them. I've always said really good. So thumbs up, actually double thumbs up for the seats. Okay, they heated as well. Once you push the button, you have 3 different stages, and it heats the steering wheel as well. You can disable this over the infotainment system. And the steering wheel, of course, is adjustable, and with the seats and the adjustable steering wheel you find your perfect sitting position with ease. As you can easily tell, you know, I'm 5'11", I have more than plenty of headspace, and the whole surrounding with the windscreen that is coming down very low, you have a feeling of much space. Even with someone sitting next to you, it's not tight, but it's kind of compact. You don't, you know, it's not like driving a tank or anything. You still have the neat compactness of the car, so you drive around in the city and you have no fear of, you know, touching anything. But still you have plenty of space, or it feels kind of spacious in the inside. I don't want to forget, of course, we have a gloves compartment. And it's kind of funny, you can cool it down, but there's not much space in it. So I was always wondering, what do they think? You know, like, hey, make the gloves compartment, we make it a fridge, a cooler. Yeah, it's a cool idea, but it's not really big, who cares, you know? You can't really put any bottles in there, so what am I cooling down, my gloves? I don't know. Still, it's nice to have it. Maybe some guys, yeah, they have medicine that have to be cooled, and so you can put it in the gloves compartment. Besides that, we have SD card readers there, a SIM card reader, and a slot for DVDs or CDs maybe. And what I really like, they have a compartment here for my shades. What's up? And what I like about this compartment, you know, this sunshades compartment, they are really tight, and if you have bigger glasses, they don't fit in there. Well, this one is huge, you know, you can even put 2 pairs of sunglasses in there. They probably just the first one will fall out if you, open it. For the ladies, and even for me, because I like to look at myself every once in a while, we have makeup mirrors in both sun shields, and they're even illuminated. And if your passenger wants to read in the dark, the car or whatever, they have reading lights. Well, you have reading lights on both sides. So that's about it in the front row. Let's hop in the back. Well, just to clarify, I don't have a big belly. The car makes me look like I have one. No, seriously, I told you the front seats are very comfortable, and so are the back seats. They are very, very comfortable. And look at all the space I have here. I told you I'm 5'11". Wow. Whoa. No, that's really cool. And thinking about buying this car as a family father, I would say my kids will sit here in the back really, really well, and they have a lot of space to use. I don't know if you need this little table here. I mean, what am I doing on this? maybe reading, well, painting will be a pain already, but still it's nice to have them, and you can put a small can in here maybe, or even a plastic bottle. We have in the side panels, in the side doors, we have space for a liter bottle. Well, this is not a liter, but still there's enough space. And you have 2 cup holders. Well, this one is too big. In the armrest where you can put your drinks. What's really fascinating is the whole concept of the car. It is really about, you know, a clever engineer. So you can scoot with the whole seat forward. And of course this is made to give you the decision, what do you need? Leg room? Or do you want more space in the trunk? Or if you have small kids, like really small kids, you might want to have them really close to the passenger seat, so the mom doesn't have to sit here, but can still sit in the front and easily, like, you know, give the kids something to eat, or the stroller or whatever. So it's not only that you can push the seats back and forward, you can as well adjust the backrest. So especially on a longer drive, you know, when I sit in the back and I sit there for hours and hours, I like it if I can adjust the backrest just a little bit to, you know, change my sitting position, and this way I can, you know, stay longer drives a little bit better. Kids nowadays, of course, need a 12 outlet to charge their iPhones or tablets or Nintendos, whatever. And there are air outlets from the air conditioning, giving them cool air in here as well. You have reading lights for both places. You have ISOFIX settings for the child seats. You have locks for the belts that are really stable, so kids can buckle up themselves with ease. And overall, I think it's a nice place for a youngster to sit. And even myself, going on a longer ride, on a little cruise with my buddies, I wouldn't mind sitting here in the back. The backrest is separated in 40-20-40. So even if you go on a skiing trip, or you have small but long goods you want to load on the trunk, you just lower this and have all the way up there. Mr. Z in search of the rear camera. Where is it? Anyway, oops. Let's open the trunk. First thing to mention is that me being 5'11", or even people being 6 foot tall, can easily stand here without hurting their heads. So when it's raining, this is kind of neat. Second thing to mention, the distance from the pavement up here is 63 centimeters, and all you got to do to load or unload your stuff is pull it out here. So no, you know, lifting it up, letting it down and so on. I think that is kind of neat. You have space in here for 500 liters of luggage. You see, it was not fully loaded with our stuff, but we have 2 carry-on luggages, trolleys actually, a backpack, a bag, another bag, and 2 jackets easily fitting in the trunk. We have some stuff here like a little light, 12-volt outlet for the cooler, and 2 little compartments here and there. There's a little rock on one side, plastic on the other one, so you can turn it whenever you did something nasty, you know, you've been playing in the mud and you want to put your shoes somewhere, you can put it on the plastic side and easily rinse it off later on. You have a trap door. Now seriously, the place where you had your spare tire is now empty because you have a tire fit, and there's space for the tire fit itself. Makes sense. A net, warning vest, and some other stuff. By the way, the triangle, the warning triangle is sitting right here. And in depth, well, the wide. In wide, you can load goods up to 1 meter. And in the depth, it is 70 centimeters from here to there. If you have the seats on the very back, if you scoot them forward as much as you can load goods up to 93 centimeters. And if you flip the whole thing and put the passenger seat on the very front, you have 180 centimeters of room. So I could sleep in here. Okay, I already told you the middle part you can flip over separately. If you want to flip the whole thing, you have a leash here and a leash there. And altogether, this is now good for 1,500 liters of goods. So depending on how heavy your goods are, you can, scoot this still forward and have a little thing right here to flip it over. What you see now very well is that you don't have a really plain surface. It, comes up here just a little bit, but I think overall it's okay. Well, that's it about the trunk. And I'm ready to take you on a little ride to talk into the camera while I'm driving to give you an impression about my driving experience. Well, Volkswagen says it's a 150 horsepower TDI that we're driving here. Has a fuel consumption of 4.4 liters on 100 kilometers, which equals about 55 miles per gallon. Well, I say after 2,000 kilometers that it takes 6.2 liters diesel on 100 kilometers, which equals 38 miles per gallon, and I think it's still a good value. I think the whole car is very reasonable overall, especially the driving experience makes me feel I'm a clever buyer of a convenient car. It starts out with the ability to change into different driving modes. I have a mode button right next to the stick shift, and I have the ability to choose between comfort, normal, sport, eco and individual. Once I go on individual, I can see what is related to the driving program. So it is not only the acceleration, but as well the steering, the air condition, the dynamic curve light, and of course the suspension. So once you go in sport, the suspension gets kind of stiff, even kind of sporty, and I like how the steering gets very direct. If you go in comfort, however, the suspension is really comfortable. The steering is not as direct, so you feel a significant change between the driving modes, and the driving modes really tend to make sense. Overall, the suspension is never too hard, too stiff. Even in sport, it is okay. But if you go cruising wherever, you might want to choose comfort over sport, which is good for the autobahn, or when you take it a little bit faster on the country roads. The brakes, no wonder, they brake and they slow down the car in a good way. You never feel insecure with the brakes. When it comes to noise and sound in the car, well, there's no engine sound. It's a diesel, it's a TDI, it's supposed to be quiet diesel engine, and so it is. So you never have problems with the engine being too loud. It's rather that when you go faster than 120 kilometers per hour, you do hear the noises of the wind on the big windscreen. I think it's related to the kind the car is built. But it's not so disturbing that you can't have a nice conversation with a passenger and you don't even really have to raise your voice, but you have this windy noise in your ears going faster than 120 kilometers per hour. Of course, you can buy the Sportsvan with this engine as well, with a DSG automatic transmission, but I don't have any complaints about the manual 6-speed. The shifting ways are very precise. The ways are not too long, but not too short. It's easy to shift, and the first 5 gears are to accelerate, are made for acceleration, while the 6th gear is more an efficiency gear, where you put your car in when you just reach the speed that you want, and then you can save some fuel. The new Volkswagen Golf Sportsvan comes with various assist system, and I think that's a good thing. I have a blind spot warner with a little icon flashing up as some other cars in my blind spot. I have a cruise control and adaptive cruise control, so if I go on a given speed like 120 kilometers per hour and I'm heading towards a car who's just driving 100 kilometers per hour, the Golf slows down by itself and keeps a distance, a secure distance to the guy in front of you. I have a lane keeping assist, an active lane keeping assist in here. It's like a little icon down in the dashboard that is orange if it does not see the lines, it does not detect the lanes. It starts at a speed of 60 kilometers per hour and it goes into green if it has recognized the lanes. Once it has recognized the lanes, it helps you steering. So if you go into a curve, you feel how the steering wheel is reacting all by itself. So it's a first way of autonomous driving, and I kind of like it, especially if you go fast on the Autobahn and you have curves. It supports you in a good way, and it's not disturbing at all. And good thing, you learn to use the turning signals when changing the lanes, because if you're not using the turning signals, you feel a little resistance in the steering wheel because it tries to keep you in the lanes. Last but not least, the Golf Sportsvan here has a traffic sign recognition assist function, whatever. So it shows you the current speed limits whenever it sees a new one, which works awesome, just fine. Overall, I'm really satisfied with the Golf. It's a good runner. It's not a sporty car, but you have no problems in the traffic, on the Autobahn, on the country road whatsoever. The Autobahn, you can go easily 190 kilometers per hour. It takes a little while to get there, but once you are there, the car runs fine. And I really appreciate this Golf Sportsvan 2.0 TDI as a comfort cruiser. It takes you everywhere. You have no problems with your luggage. The kids like the car. The infotainment system is okay to awesome. There's no complaint about it. Only the speakers could be a little bit more premium, because if you listen to the music a little bit too loud, it gets a little bit scratchy. For normal people, it might be okay. It's for people who don't listen too loud. For guys like me who like to, put on Motorhead or Run DMC a little bit louder, the system is not very satisfying. I say ho! Well, it doesn't work. So if you like my clip, please give me a like below. If you have any questions towards the Volkswagen Golf Sportsvan, let me know in the comments. We're trying to answer and help you. If you haven't done so, please subscribe, because I'm just a funny guy, Mr. Z, ha ha ha, and we do a bunch of clips every once in a while. To the next clip, I say goodbye.